Everyone, Father Jared coming to you on this Wednesday. So this coming weekend, we have the fifth Sunday of Lent, which used to be known as Passion Sunday, and now, Palm Sunday and Passion Sunday have kind of been combined, and the new rite. And so on the fifth Sunday of Lent, traditionally, is whenever the church veils the crosses, so all the crucifixes, and then all the images at the front of church. Stations have never been traditionally covered, and stained glass and all that fun stuff has neither been covered. And, a lot of people really do like this tradition, and sometimes people are like, well, why do we do that? Is it just to add more purple to the sanctuary, or what's going on? And really, it's, some people have talked about, so it's kind of hiding, the reality of what's about to happen, and it's meant to make the season more penitential. And while those are true to an extent, the real reason, so the fundamental reason and the original reason for why the church veiled images, especially crosses, was to invite us to kind of a holy what if. A what if, like what if Christ hadn't died for us? How sad that would be. How damned we would be. And so what really happens whenever we're veiling the images in church, so the Holy Angels this coming Sunday, all my Holy Angels parishioners that come to Mass will see that the images are veiled. The images are hidden. So all the statuary and the crosses and crucifixes at the front of the church will be veiled. And the reason why this is done is because we are invited to contemplate what if Christ hadn't died for us. What would our state then be? And how sad that state would be. And so it's a reminder for us to enter more deeply into this season, to give thanks to God. There's a reason why Good Friday is called Good Friday and not Sad Friday. It's because it is the day on which the Lord dies for us, on which He allows us to become fundamentally children of God. And so whenever we see those images veiled, it's not just simply simplifying to the church. It's primarily for us to truly, truly give thanks to the Lord and to truly contemplate how gone we would be, how far gone we would be, and how little grace, how little growth would be possible, how little our sanctification, our holiness, our joy would be possible if Christ had not died for us, if He had not been so willing to unite His will to that of His Father's and die on the cross for each of us. And then there's also, then that's why on Good Friday we unveil crucifixes and not the other images. Instead, why that is because then we begin to see the hope of what has happened. Christ has died. And so we begin to see the hope that He has died to put to death our sin. And then at the Easter Vigil, those veils are removed from the other images, a reminder that by His resurrection, we now come to share a new life. So we unveil the images of the saints as a reminder that we now can participate by Christ's death, but then by His resurrection, we can now participate in the new life of Christ and be brought to the joys of heaven. We can be brought to the joys of sainthood, because ultimately, the greatest tragedy in life is to not become a saint. And so we see that the greatest joy that we have is to unite our sufferings to our Lord's in this life, to suffer with Him, to suffer for Him, and to ultimately experience the joy that is, to participate in God's constant redemption of the world. And then, as a result of that, as a result of Christ's death on the cross, His redeeming death in which we were baptized, we can now rise to new life with Him, and then come to the joy that is heaven. That suffering doesn't have the last word. The cross doesn't have the last word. But instead, God the Father raises Jesus to life, and through His Son, He now also will raise us to new life. And this life here now, currently, whenever we're raised in baptism, and every time we go to the confessional and have our mortal sins forgiven, but then also in the life to come, which is what we're each leaning into, the Paschal mystery. That Easter is a prefiguration of what is to come for each of us. So as you come to church this weekend, and if you've wondered, why does the church do this? Why do some churches veil the images? I just wanted to give you kind of a general overview, and that divine what if, that holy what if. What if Christ hadn't died for us? And to really contemplate that in these coming 2 weeks, to contemplate what would be lost without Christ saving death and resurrection.